Live from the virtual Phoenix Raceway in Phoenix, Arizona, welcome sim racing fans to the New York Thunder eSeries broadcast on Apex Racing TV. I'm your host Joshua Lee with Brad Klenk along with Dennis Branch down in the control room. Now, Brad, last night we had the Volkswagen Jettas going head-to-head with 11 racers on the grid, but tonight it looks like we're going to have 22 racers on the grid in these NASCAR Legends cars, famous among short tracks across the United States. How much different is the racing going to be tonight versus last night?
Yeah, hi Joshua, and hello to all the viewers. Unfortunately, Austin can't be with us tonight, so it's great to have Joshua along. And yeah, tonight we're going to see probably a very different style race from what we saw last night. The field has doubled in size, and the little Legends cars here, I think they can pretty much hold them wide open the whole way around this track. So it's going to come down to driver lines through the corners and drafting and strategy. So I think we'll see some exciting pack racing tonight.
And this track is a 1 mile long triangle-shaped track, famous on the NASCAR circuit. It will host the NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Series, and Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series finales this season in November. But these Legends cars don't normally run around a track of this size, 1 mile long. And usually we're used to seeing these Legends cars race around shorter circuits. How different is it racing on this larger circuit? Like you said, going flat out, but is the tire wear different?
Oh, just going on board here with Eric Conklin, can actually hear there was a slight lift there into one, I believe. So it may not be quite flat the whole way around. There's definitely going to be a lot more drafting than what we saw last night. These smaller cars definitely benefit from that. And yeah, the tyre wear is definitely going to be an issue. The front right tyre, it's going to take a lot of torture here. I know some of the guys in the Jetta last night were saying that when they pitted in the late caution, they were down to only 20% of their tyre left. So I think these guys will probably be praying for some mid-race cautions to come in and get some fresh boots on these little cars.
And these cars are little, but they are mighty. 133 horsepower under the hood of these machines with a Yamaha 1250cc engine. These things almost sound like dirt bikes going around the Phoenix Raceway. They are loud, they are mighty, and they are ready to go racing as we have about 4 minutes remaining here in this practice session. Fastest time of the night belongs to the 54 of Eric Conklin. You're looking at him right now with a 33.611. And Chad Garlisi Jr. currently has the third spot, 33.669 out there on the track. It is going to be interesting to see what happens when these cars get into traffic. And you can see them going all the way down in that open dog leg, all the way down to the wall. Brad, how much is that dog leg going to help the time in these Legends cars?
Yeah, well, it's definitely going to be an advantage to run the bottom, but obviously if you're in a situation with a pack of 4 or 5 cars, not everyone can be in the same space, so it's going to be kind of a battle for people to try and get down to the inside there. We did see some drivers try and run the more traditional line last night, but usually it was the drivers who aggressively cut down onto the inside on the dog leg that were able to make up positions. So that's going to be part of the tactics of the race, is to try and slipstream into a position where you can get a good run down into the dog leg to make those positions, particularly towards the end of the race.
Practice about to conclude here. 3 minutes remaining here in practice before we head into qualifying. They will have 2 laps to qualify, and then we'll get ready for the 35-minute or 35-lap race here tonight. And these Legends cars continue to make laps around the Phoenix Raceway, each driver learning how to handle these cars around this 1 mile short track. 33.669 is the current time. In third place, Max Steck, you're looking at him right now, holds a time of 33.661, going all the way back to 9th place right now. Cullen Johnston currently holds the 10th spot. And these cars are just continuously making laps around the Phoenix Raceway. Your current fastest time, 33.611. And these times could be a little bit different than what we'll see in qualifying, as a couple drivers racing around in some small packs.
Yeah, there's this many cars out there and turning plenty of laps here in practice. It's going to put some rubber down on the surface as well. So that's probably a good idea for everyone to get out there and run some laps, because the track will be pretty optimum grip conditions for the race. But yeah, qualifying, we may not see times quite as fast as what we're seeing here in practice, because these guys have got benefit of the draft at the moment.
That draft is going to be especially important in these Legends cars, especially because they are pretty slow out there on the track compared to the other cars that race here at the Phoenix Raceway. And they're about on par with the cars we saw last night in the Jetta. So it'll be very interesting to see how the racing differs, because we saw last night a lot of single file, a lot of almost Daytona-like pack racing. It'll be interesting to see if we see that tonight in these Legends cars. They have about 1 minute left of open practice before we head into qualifying, and we'll see where these 22 drivers will line up on the grid here tonight. And we'll see how those times differ from these practice times.
A little bit of the info coming through from the event organizer, William Krushka. We've got Amy Catalano listed on our timing screen, but we believe it's actually Trevor Catalano who is behind the wheel of that car.
Practice going to go ahead and conclude. 20 seconds left on the clock, and you see last minute times going up. Matthew Lambert going to hop up to that sixth position with a 33.727, his best lap of the evening. As everybody else making their way down in a pit lane as the clock going to wind down here in open practice. We're going to have 2 laps of qualifying coming up. Let's see where these 22 racers will line up on the grid for tonight's 35-lap feature event here in these Legends 34 Coupes. Getting ready to race around the Phoenix Raceway. It's time to qualify. Five minutes on the clock for qualifying, as each driver will head out onto the track for 2 laps.
Waiting for a couple of the drivers to crawl out the lane here, and it looks like Dustin Sorber is one of the drivers who we had in the Jettas last night, and he's come back for another run in the Legend. So we'll see what Dustin can put down, and we'll see how the other drivers compare once he puts his time down.
And the 9 car will take the green flag for his first lap here in qualifying around the Phoenix Raceway. Hugging that yellow line, but drifting up, coming onto the back straightaway. We'll see how much he cuts his dog leg. And Brad, he's going to cut it completely all the way down to that inside line as he heads towards turn 3.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the preferred line. We'll see what the other drivers are doing when we cut to them, but with these cars, I believe that's probably the best way to go. Quite stiffly sprung, these cars, but they still seem to be able to make it on the transition from the banking down to into the dog leg.
That'll be P3 for Dustin Sorber. And now P4 as he is drastically dropping with that 34.001. Fastest time on the racetrack right now, Mason Handel, 33.785. We'll see if Sorber can improve, but now we're going to move on to Zach Skonecki. As he tries to make his rounds around, he's going to go into the 10th spot currently as he hugs that inside wall down the back straightaway, trying to improve on that 10th time. A 34.428 was his lap number 1 time. Let's see how he improves coming on to the front straightaway to complete lap number 2, as we have a new face at the top of the leaderboard. 33.674 for Vincent Cristiano. He hops up to the top of the leaderboard, and he is going to hold that spot for right now. That 23 car is looking fast, and he still has 1 more lap on the track, Brad.
Yeah, it's a good job there from Vincent. He wasn't in the Jetta event last night, so he's obviously done or come to grips with this car quite well. Perhaps someone with a bit more experience than some of the other guys in the field. I know there were some drivers last night said they had spent much of their rookie time on the short track ovals in these cars, so probably varying levels of experience out there. And just coming around to see if he's able to improve. He's bailed out of that one.
Already finished his 2 laps there, 33.675, your current pole time from Vincent Cristiano. Looking at William Kruska as he finishes up his laps. He has a time of 33.692, and he will be in the second position as 20 drivers have taken times. And we just have a couple cars left to put down time before we go ahead and end the qualifying session here tonight at the Phoenix Raceway.
I believe we've got Trevor Catalano has only just taken to the track, so decided to go for a late run in this quali session. So we'll see what Trevor can put down.
And that could help him watching where everybody else finished here in qualifying. He can make changes to his line and changes to his laps here as he comes across the start-finish line to take the white flag, and he goes on to lap number 2, a 33.741 put up by Trevor Catalano, as he will go right down to that inside line, and that looks like it is the preferred line down the back straightaway, hugging that inside wall. We've seen a lot of racers here at the Phoenix Raceway cut the dog leg, but I don't think I've ever seen it just like that, Brad.
Yeah, these cars being not very wide and being able to get right down near that wall, that not as much push on the car with the lower speeds. And Trevor is able to improve there. It goes to a 33.714, moves up one position into P4.
22 racers on the grid, 21 have currently taken time, and it looks like Stephen Barber, your 22nd racer, is not going to take a time in this qualifying session, as the time will wind down. We're going to get these 22 cars on the grid and ready to go racing here at the Phoenix Raceway. You are watching the New York Thunder eSeries live on Apex Racing TV. Tonight is the Ford Legends 34 Coupes around the Phoenix Raceway for race number 2 of the New York Thunder eSeries, as checkered flag goes out here in the qualifying session, as we are now ready to take a look at your starting grid for tonight's feature main event. Vincent Cristiano holds that top spot. He will start on pole with William Kruska to his outside in the second position. Patrick Hoosier will start in third. Trevor Catalano in fourth. Chad Garlissi in fifth. Max Steck in sixth. Nick Galusha in seventh. Mason Hanel in eighth. Matthew Lambert in ninth. And Mark Sergio rounds out your top 10, Brad.
Certainly does. Then we've got Zach Skotnicki in P11, Kenny Zeems in P12, followed up by Cullen Johnson, Ken Zeems, Eric Conklin in P15, Michael Zismardia, he's on the outside in 16, Jason Hand in 17, Dustin Sorber 18, Christopher Kimlingen is in P19. Christopher Apgar comes out of 20, and then we've got Michael Schuler and Stephen Barber rounding out the field in P22. He didn't set a time in that quali session.
It looks like everybody on the grid, all 22 racers, and they are getting ready to roll off behind that iRacing pace car. And you can see one car getting a little antsy there. He wants to get off the grid, and so do I. I want to get this race underway. And as each car rolls off of the grid, they'll head onto the back straightaway here at the Phoenix Raceway. Lights already out of the pace car. We will be going green this time by here at the Phoenix Raceway. 23 car on the pole to start tonight's race. That 6 car to the outside. And I am super excited to see how these cars race down the back straightaway here on lap number 1. We could see upwards of 8, 9, maybe even 10 wide out here on the racetrack. Who knows how wide they're going to make it down the back straightaway this first time by in each lap from there. But 22 racers ready to take the green flag here at the Phoenix Raceway. The iRacing pace car heads down into the safety of pit road. The green flag is in the air. Vincent Cristiano leads him into turn number 1. We're underway in the New York Thunder eSeries at Phoenix in the Legends cars.
Yeah, they bunched up really nicely there for the start, and we got contact on the exit of one, so a few cars around.
Oh, one car flipping, that's the 9 car. That was a 9 of Dustin Sorber heading up into the air. An early caution down there in turn number 1. A good amount of cars involved in that one.
Yeah, just taking a look at the replay, so the 84 around. I think he was reacting to the other cars that went around earlier, and then the 9 with some acrobatics towards the end of that. The 26, I think it was, flipping over as well. So plenty of action on the first lap here. Hopefully the guys have got some fast repairs and can get back out there, get bounced back up, and we'll see how many cars wide we can fit through this dogleg.
And it looks like that's Rex started with the 97 getting down onto the apron. He came back up on the track, and the 33 said, "Hello, I am here," and turned him around there in turn number 2 as they were coming onto the back straightaway. A couple cars involved in that one, but majority of cars still on the racetrack and still clean-nosed as we get ready to go back to racing here shortly. The field's going to catch that iRacing pace car, and they will get formed back up on the pace line. And just like that, we'll be back to racing here shortly at the Phoenix Raceway. Didn't get much racing there to start, but we'll hopefully have a lot more racing to come as we're only on lap number 3 of 35 tonight here in the New York Thunder eSeries Legends cars. It is night number 2 of the New York Thunder eSeries here at the Phoenix International Raceway. Tonight is the Legends cars. Last night was the Volkswagen Jettas. And who knows what the next couple of nights hold for this New York Thunder eSeries. Brad, you saw the racing last night. You called it here on Apex Racing TV with Austin. Compared to last night, what are you expecting tonight to be here in these Legends cars?
Well, I think the fact that we've got basically double the cars on the grid, we might see more cautions than what we saw last night. And these cars, because they're so small and not as wide, shorter wheelbase, they're pretty easy to maneuver around and change up lines, which it can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing when if you go for an aggressive move and you're not quite sure where the other cars are around you. So the guys need to be super aware of their sort of situational awareness, who's around them when they're running 3-4 wide through the dog leg. I think we're definitely going to see that during this race. Would have been nice to see that opening lap play out, because William Krushka actually got a really good start on the outside and was challenging to take the lead straight away on that first lap there, but unfortunately for him, the caution came out before he could get that done.
But they will rack him back up, and that 6 car will be back on the outside line coming to this next restart. And he's going to have another shot at taking the lead away from Vincent Cristiano. Cristiano was able to grab that pole with a very fast time. Time's close to what we saw in practice. So these cars are definitely speedy single file, or speedy and single car runs. We're going to see how they get in a pack, as I believe the field has 2 to go. And the next time around the start-finish line, we will get that 1 to go signal. Something I really love about the Phoenix Raceway, and these pace laps are some of the quickest in the service. I really like the speed of these pace laps, because we have some tracks on the service that it feels like you're doing more pacing than you are racing. So it's definitely great to see some fast pace laps here from these Legends cars, as they will take the 1 to go signal here this time by Brad.
Yeah, we just saw the 28 of Stephen Barber head down to the lane for some service. He was stationary for about 23-24 seconds, so possibly a little bit of damage repair and some fresh tyres. He's out of position early in the race there, and he was starting towards the back, so just a bit of a strategy call there perhaps from Stephen to try and take on the fresh rubber now, and he might stay out on one of the other cautions if we have one to get some track position.
And he will be 1 lap down when we go back to racing Dustin Sorber, the other car off of the lead lap. He is 3 laps down. And Trevor Catalano, he is appearing not in the session right now. Oh, sorry, that is actually another Amy Catalano, but it looks like Amy Catalano 2 is Trevor Catalano, so he's still in the race as the field double file and into the dog leg, getting ready to go back to racing here at the Phoenix Raceway. As taking the green will be the 23 of Vincent Cristiano. William Kruska to his outside. Patrick Hoosier will be on the outside in the second row. In the inside lane of the first row, in the second row, will be Trevor Catalano. And rounding out your top 5 will be that 11 car of the 631 of Mark Sergio, as we are back to racing here at the Phoenix Raceway. And it looks like it is an even cleaner getaway for the leader, the 23 of Vincent Cristiano, as they race down into turn number 1, 3 wide, racing for 5th.
Yeah, Trevor Catalano.
The 11 around, hard into him is the 53 and the 16 up and over, and more cars involved coming out of turn number 1. Another very wreck-filled turn number 1. Cullen Johnston looks like he got the worst out of that. What happened? Taking a look at the replay, It just looks like a lot of this is almost just chain reactions. The 11 car got turned by the 631. Looks like he just came down on him a little bit too close, and he overcorrected, turned right up into the 53's path, and the 16 nowhere to go, and he went flipping into the air and out of this race, and just more cars spin down into the pack. Cullen Johnston with nowhere to go. It almost just seems like everybody fighting for real estate down there in turn number 1, and there's not a lot of drivers given room.
Yeah, it is a difficult turn, that turn 1, and the guys probably don't have a lot of temperature in their tyres because we've only had a couple of corners of green flag racing since it started. So, but this does play into the
green flag racing.
This does play into the hands of Stephen Barber, who is the first car lap down, having pitted earlier for fresh tyres and some repairs. So he might be able to get a wave around here and get back on the lead lap.
He is the first car a lap down. Dustin Sorber is currently 3 laps down. He is rounded out the field in the 22nd position, 3 laps down. He is currently scored on lap number 6. As we'll see if the 28 is able to grab that lucky dog, and it looks like he's going to pass the field on the outside. I believe he does have that wave around, so the 28 will be heading back onto the lead lap. It looks like the 9 was also waved around the pace car, so he will end up getting 1 lap back as well, with Michael Sismadia and Christopher Kimlingen will be 1 lap down now as well, as they got repairs fixed down pit road. And more cars will get their scoring figured out. William Kruska, the number 6 car, also doubling as race control tonight, and he is waving a couple cars around. And we'll see how the scoring will fix itself out when we head back to racing. The 23 car still in the lead with Trevor Catalano now in second. He was able to overtake William Kruska in the 6 before that caution came out, with Patrick Hoosier and Max Steck rounding out your top 5. Kenny Zeems, Matthew Lambert, Ken Zeems, Zach Scottnicki, and Eric Conklin round out your top 10 on the racetrack in these Legends 34 Ford Coupes. Rounding out the field here in Phoenix. Last night we saw the Volkswagen Jettas, and Brad, that race was a lot cleaner than this one so far, but I'm willing to bet we're going to see some good racing once we're able to get some green flag laps in.
Yeah, I think these guys will settle down a bit now. One person that has been able to pick their way through all those incidents is Michael Schuler. He started in P21 and made his way up to P11 through those incidents. So not a lot of green flag running, but Michael's been able to make up 10 positions already. So we'll have to see how he can go throughout the rest of the race. And Stephen Barber taking that wave around, down in P18, back on the lead lap. Be interesting to see how far up the field he might be able to get.
13 cars have not pitted so far this race. 14 cars, my bad, have not pitted so far this race. They are on 11 lap old tires. Of course, majority of them, almost all of them, being under pace conditions. But we have 3 cars that pitted during this last caution on lap number 7. And then we had about 4 cars pit during the first caution of the night. That was on lap number 1. as now the cars will get doubled up once again. Lights out on the iRacing.com Ford Mustang pace car. And we're going to hopefully get through turn number 1, and hopefully, I don't know if I'm asking too much of these racers, but get at least a lap down so we can see how the rest of this night is going to go, as we are on lap number 12 of tonight's New York Thunder eSeries from the Phoenix Raceway in these Ford Legends coupes. And remember that time limit. It is a 35-minute time limit. Possible we could reach that time limit before we reach the laps. And race control, actually, as I say that, just addressing it to the rest of the racers that it is a possibility they might reach time if they keep wrecking. And they will not finish all 35 scheduled laps. But the pace car heading back down into pit road. The 23 controls the field again. He is choosing to go right now. Green, green, green. We're back underway here at Phoenix, as the 23 will lead the field down into turn number 1. A lot of cars bunched up. And that outside line going to get spread out. That inside line especially spread out. It looks like everybody makes their way onto the back straightaway into the dogleg for the first time tonight.
Caution is out.
And just as I say that, we have another caution with a wreck in the back of the field. It looks like the 99 got spun around, and the caution comes out.
I thought we were going to see a full lap there, but unfortunately not. And the 16 just coming through, collecting the 99 there at the end there, I believe.
Looked like the 33 tried to go to the outside of the 7 car, heading down into turn number 1, and the 99 was turning in, and that led to the 99 getting turned around. The 11 car hit him with his front bumper in the 16. Again, nowhere to go for the 16. He was just getting caught up in these messes, so he collided with the 99. And that's how that wreck happened in turn number 1. The leaders got down into the dogleg, but nobody else was able to get down there, as we're back under caution here at the Phoenix Raceway.
Yeah, we did get a glimpse of what the green flag runs will be like there at the dogleg. There's about, on the wide shot there's 6 or 7 cars all sort of spread out using different lines through the back stretch of the track there. So that's what we've come here to see. Hopefully we'll get some green flag running on this next restart and see the different approaches to this racetrack and a bit of strategy playing out.
We are on lap 15. They'll be coming across the start-finish line with 20 laps to go, and we have not completed a single green flag lap so far this race. Unfortunately, a lot of cautions tonight. I believe the officially scored each lap has been run under caution. We have not made a full lap under green tonight. So we'll see. Hopefully a lot of these racers calm down a little bit and we are able to get some laps in under green conditions, as Vincent Cristiano has not let go of that lead since he took it from qualifying. He qualified on the pole, started on the inside line, and he's been leading ever since. William Kruska fell back to 3rd. He's now back up to the 2nd position with Trevor Catalano in 3rd. 4th place, Kenny Zeems. 5th place, Patrick Hoosier. 6th, Max Steck. 7th, Ken Zeems. 8th, Eric Conklin. 9th, Matthew Lambert. And Zach Scottnicki rounds out your top 10 out here on the racetrack, as we are hopefully going to get some green flag laps going here in the New York Thunder eSeries from the Phoenix Raceway.
So at the moment, Mason Hannell in P11 is the first car in the lineup that has pitted. It was only a very, very short stop though, so I don't believe he took tyres, so he'll be on the similar tyre to the other guys. Cullen Johnson in the P16 is probably the first car that has taken tyres, but that was only on actually that was lap 8, so yeah, he does have some fresher tyres than some of the other guys, although it hasn't been green flag laps, so whether that will play out to be an advantage towards the end of the race, we'll have to wait to see. Christopher Kimlingen was able to take the wave around on this caution, and he's back on the lead lap, so we've got 18 cars on the lead lap at the moment.
Still, a majority of the cars have not come down pit road. They are all on 17-lap-old tires, but they're not wearing much under the pace car. Only about 3 total corners, and a little bit of the back straight has been run under green flag conditions so far tonight. Every time we've had a restart, we've had collections down in turn number 1 of a couple race cars. A lot of damaged ones, but a lot of them using their fast repairs and doing any possible repairs to their race cars to get back out on the racetrack. The 11 of Mark Sergio, the 16 of Michael Sismata, the 99 of Christopher Apgar are all 1 lap down, with Dustin Sorber in the 9 being 2 laps down in the 22nd position. As the lights are out once again on the iRacing pace car, they will double up one more time, and hopefully we are able to get a green flag stint going here. The 23 of Vincent Cristiano will lead the field with the green flag, with William Kruska in the 6 to his outside. The 64 of Trevor Catalano in third. Fourth, Kenny Zeems on the second row outside line. And on the inside line in the third row will be the 631. Sorry, it'll be the 17 of Patrick Hoosier with the 631 of Max Steck starting on the outside line in the 6th spot. So here we go, coming through turn number 3 and 4. Let's see if we are able to make it longer here on this green flag stint. The pace car back into the pit road. Race control urging drivers to give people room down in turn number 1 as we're back to racing here at the Phoenix Raceway, and hopefully it'll stay like that for a couple laps. Everybody gonna head down into turn number 1. Majority of the front cars get through clean, and the back markers are getting through clean. Hallelujah, we've made it through one corner as the field rushes down the back straightaway through the dog leg. The 64 right on the back bumper. The 23, he's going to look to make a move here in turn number 4.
Yeah, lots of
make a
different
move
lines
down
being...
that inside.
Oh, there's no more contact. 17's around. Hopefully no one collects him, and we can continue. Looks like the caution has been flown though.
Nobody else was collected in that incident, but it looks like they were 3 wide. The 17 just made a little bit of contact to the car to his outside, which was the 22. And man, I gotta give a shout out to that 11 car. He has been caught up in 2 wrecks tonight, and he narrowly misses the 17 during this caution. So a massive effort to him. There was maybe a millimeter between those cars.
Yeah, some nice reaction times there. That's Mark Sergio in the 11. So very narrowly missing a huge wreck there.
Well, we are on lap 20 of this race now, with I don't think a single lap fully run under green tonight. Almost all of these laps have been run under pacing here under caution. And we're going to get these cars racked up again. And we're going to go green flag again. And I'm willing to bet they will wreck again, as these drivers not wanting to give any space. But, Brad, do you think that they are trying to give space, but compared to the Jettas last night, these cars are so small, they think they're giving more space than they actually are?
That could be the case. Also, even though these cars are quite small, visibility out of them is not ideal. So we see a couple of cars just getting the wave around there. I think Michael Sismadia is going to go around to go onto the lead lap. I think he was lucky dog. I believe Mark Sergio and Christopher Apgar may have got the wave around as well, so we could be back to almost the whole field on the lead lap. Yeah, the visibility out of these Legends cars is probably not as good as you may think it would be. And when you've got sort of 3, 4, 5 different driving lines through some of these corners with these cars, so I think the fact that they're smaller sometimes can be a bit of a hindrance to getting green flag running. Just the fact that, just because the drivers are able to run so many different lines.
And these cars are only 133 horsepower, but let's be honest, these things aren't exactly the best thing to handle. They are unlockable at the Rookie 4.0 class, but it is very difficult to handle these cars, especially around a huge racetrack like this. They are not made for huge racetracks like this. So these drivers trying to get a handle on these machines. We saw a lot of carnage in practice, and we're seeing more carnage here during the race, but I believe we'll get the 1-to-go signal this time by, and yes, we will. We're going to rack them up for another restart as we'll be going green flag racing on lap number 24. We will have 12 laps to go here in tonight's race of the New York Thunder eSeries at the Phoenix Raceway. Night number 2. Last night, the Volkswagen Jettas. Tonight, the Legends Ford 34 Coupes around the Phoenix Raceway once again. And they'll rack them up 2 by 2 with Vincent Cristiano once again starting in the first spot. To his outside now will be Trevor Catalano in the 64. William Kruska will be second on that inside line. The 6 car, the 22 of Kenny Zeems, in fourth on the outside line, second row. And look at that. We have a new challenger down there in the 5th spot. It's the 90 of Ken Zeems, close to Kenny, as he is getting ready to go back to racing in the 5th spot. Let's see who can make up as many positions as they can here during this restart. The pace car back into the safety of pit road. Let's see how long we'll make it under green as the 23 gets going. We're back to racing here at Phoenix.
Well, so far so good. We're tentative saying anything because we don't want to jinx stuff, but looks like we could get a green flag run happening here. You can see the cars fanning out down through the dog leg there. Everyone getting down to the inside trying to take the tighter line there. All at 22, just 3 wide there.
They almost made contact with that 23. They're 4 wide coming down the front straightaway. They came out of turn number 4 wide, and they're going to be 4 wide going into turn number 1. They're going to decide against that. Now 3 wide, headed down to 1, but Trevor Catalano in the 64 gets away the leader. He is clearing him by a couple car legs, but they're still scrapping. They are 4 wide coming through the dog leg for 3rd place. Who is going to get that spot? They're going to make contact. The 54 down to the inside. Conklin into the wall. Caution is back out.
Yeah, that's a real shame there because Zeems and Conklin were on that 3rd row at the restart. They'd already made up about 8 or 9 spots each, and seemed like they were working together down on the inside there to make up some room. But
Trevor Catalano took advantage of that restart, got out to the front of this pack, and that might have been the secret as we had about 10 laps to go. Back under caution. We were able to run about a lap and a half under green, and that is the longest green flag run we have had tonight. Brad, this racing has been nothing short of carnage, but the green flag racing that we've had has been super entertaining, especially down that back straightaway.
Yeah, well, as I said, Ken Zeems in the 90, he's been able to take advantage of that short green flag run there. He's moved from the 3rd row up to the 2nd row in P3 now, so making up 2 or 3 spots. Unfortunately, Conklin was not so lucky. He did make some progress and then a bit of contact there. I think one of the cars was actually blinking, so there might have been a little bit of situational awareness there that the car disappeared perhaps, and then one of them made contact and turned him around. Got the 11 going around for the wave round. That's Mark Sergio. So I think we'll have 20 cars on the lead lap when we take the green.
And I think that 64 machine of Trevor Catalano might have made the move of the race on that last restart. But the lead is important, especially because we're having so many cautions, but that outside line on the restarts has been the best line for that front row. Because almost every time, this is one of the first times, this is the 2nd restart that we have gotten past turn number 1. And each time, that outside line on the front row comes off of turn 2, side by side with the leader, and it is a battle down into the dog leg. So I think possibly the 23 might be in the best position now to win this race. He was on the pole. He's been leading this entire race up until that restart. And I think the 23 might be in the best position to possibly win this thing. Brad, we're inside 10 to go. Who do you think is going to close it out?
It's hard to say. If if it's a green run from here, I think Vincent still has a good chance to win. The one thing with the restarts I have noticed is the outside line, for some reason, has seemed to have been bunched up much closer at the restarts. So I think they've been working together a bit better, a bit more benefit from the draft at the run to the green. So we'll see if that's the case again this time. I think the guys down on the inside may be a little bit tentative to be really bunched up heading into that first corner because they're on the tighter line. So just see how it plays out. Looks like the inside's actually getting bunched up quite good there this time.
We're going to see what happens on this restart. Field double file. Race control William Kruska, man, is working overtime tonight because he has been telling his drivers to be super smooth all night, and it looks like he was given the option to choose the outside, and it looks like Trevor Catalano wants that outside line. Possibly could be a little bit of what I was saying. That outside line has been strong. And he was given the power to go to the outside, and he said, you know what, I'm going to take it. So the 23 will be starting on the inside line, but he is in second place with the 90 of Ken Zeems in third, the 22 of Kenny Zeems in fourth. Rounding out your top five, the 6 of William Kruska. Field's going to come off at turn number 4. We're going green with 6 laps to go here at the Phoenix Raceway. The iRacing pace car into pit road. The 64 gets off really good on that outside line. The 23 falling back. And on the 23 on the back bumper. The 64 almost shoving him into turn number 1. Here comes the 22 to the inside. He wants the lead.
Yeah, that was a good run at the start there. Catalano had help from the 22 behind, so they're able to clear the bottom row quite easily. We'll see if we can stay green.
Breakaway down in that dog leg. About 4 cars really hugged that wall, and it looks like 3 of them getting out really well. Now they're all back up in the top 4 with the scrap for 5th between the 23 and the 631. They're battling for 5th place. And we have a 14 car flipping down the front straightaway. That's not the 14, that is the 44. With another caution, the 44 shoving the 33 down the front straightaway, got him turned. And we're back under caution after 1 complete lap during that green flag stint. And the 44 is wrecked with the 33, possibly wrecking him on the back straightaway. And we have retaliation under caution with the 44 getting turned by the 33 of Mason Hannell. Tempers are flaring here on Short Track Wednesday night here in these Legends cars, Brad.
You never want to see that, but I can understand where Mason's coming from there, because the 44 wasn't really lined up for a bump draft there. He was kind of weaving left and right, and then made contact with Mason's car. So it's yeah, bit of aggro out there tonight, perhaps.
We will be going back to green with a very low amount of laps left. I'm not sure if they have green-white checkers enabled, but with that said, the time now is under 4 minutes. So with their 2 to green here, they're going to grab the 1 to go on lap 34, and I believe we'll be going right on to the white flag. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that is what will happen. If we get another caution, which I don't believe we will, if they go right back onto the green flag and we don't have a green-white checkered finish, then we will finish just before time expires. But right now, if we go green with the green-white checker and we have a caution, it's needless to say this race will be ending under time and not the scheduled lap distance, as we only have about 3 minutes left of race time. With the 64 leading the way and Trevor Catalano, the 90 of Ken Zeems in second, Kenny Zeems in the 22 in third, fourth will be William Kruska, and fifth will be Vincent Cristiano, who started on the pole and under every green flag run has lost positions. He's now back in the 5th spot, as I believe it will grab that 1 to go this time by.
And interesting to see which
It will be a green-white checker. One of 3 attempts for the green-white checker. It is possible we might run out of time here, Brad.
That is looking likely. We'll see. Be interesting to see which lane Trevor chooses on this restart. And Ken Zeem's in P2 in the 90 car. He's up 12 positions, so definitely has some speed. I think if we do get some green flag running before we close it out, I think Ken could be the one to watch in that 90 car.
It is possible, but with the 64 was given an option on the last restart to choose that outside line, and he did. So we'll see if he does that again. But if he doesn't, I do believe that 90 car, as well as you, Brad, is in the prime position to win this race. But the Trevor Catalano, once he got that lead, he was able to keep it extremely easily. So we'll see what happens on this restart. Lights are out on top of the iRacing.com pace car. And these pace laps are about a minute long. So we're going to be really cutting it close here on time. It is possible we might run out of time during this green-white checker finish. But I believe even once time expires, you get the white flag. So I think we might be just perfect on time, as the 64 was just now given the option to go up to the outside line. But it doesn't look like he is going to take it. So the 90 car will be up in that outside line with the 6 of William Kruzka behind him. Behind the 64 will be the 22, and we saw in that last restart the 22 shoving the 64 down into turn number 1. So will that happen again? It is up to these racers to decide, as the iRacing.com pace car will pull into pit road for the last time tonight, as we are cutting extremely close on time. 40 seconds on the clock. The field is gone. We're back to racing, and the 90 looked to be in front of the 64. Did he receive a black flag? We're going to have to find out, but the 64 leads the field into turn number 1. He's going to clear the 90 by about 2 car lengths.
Yeah, that was definitely close at the line. I think Ken might have just been a couple of inches behind as they crossed the line, and probably timed that to perfection. So we've got 2x2 here as they filter down to single file heading into the dogleg. Oh, Zeems runs a really tight line there. We've got someone around the background. It's another caution.
That will be a caution out on the racetrack, but I believe they will run out of time, and that is going to conclude tonight's race. Not exactly sure who spun, but I think the race is going to be extended, and we're going to have another shot at this green-white checker. It'll be the second attempt out of 3.
Yeah, that was the 20.
Brad, we haven't made it 2 laps under green tonight. It is in all cautions, and I think the longest we've made was that run earlier in the race, about mid-race, where it was a lap and a half.
It's definitely been more eventful than we anticipated. I mean, we did expect more cautions than last night, with the field being double in size, but can't say I really expected to have so few green flag laps. And Trevor has pulled a bit of a masterstroke there. He's been able to hold the lead from the outside and the inside, both those restarts. So he's timing those restarts really well. It looked like Zeems was probably going to get that move done, but the caution came out just as he was heading to the inside to make that move. So, and we've got one of the cars getting a wave around there now. I think that may have been Christopher Apgar.
So the time will be extended, as we're going to attempt to finish this race under green. We have 3 green-white checkered overtime attempts. We'll be heading into the second attempt here tonight, as we have completed, I think, a total of 2 green flag laps. Maybe a little bit more than that, but the majority of this race has been run under caution, as the lights are now still on the iRacing pace car. We're going to keep them pacing around as we will rack them up for the second green-white checkered attempt with Trevor Catalano in the lead, Ken Zeems in second, Kenny Zeems in third, William Kruska in fourth, Max Steck in fifth, Vincent Cristiano sixth, Matthew Lambert seventh, Eric Conklin eighth, Chad Garlisi Jr. in ninth, and Nick Galusha rounding out your top 10. As when they come across the start-finish line this time by, they'll get the 1-to-go signal, and we'll be getting ready to go back to racing here at the Phoenix Raceway, and hopefully we'll be able to take that white flag and finish out tonight's race here at the Phoenix Raceway. But Brad, you said that Trevor Catalano, you said that the 90 of Ken Zeems is in the best spot, but Trevor Catalano has been pulling away from the field. Coming to this second green-white checkered attempt, is your prediction for the winner changed at all?
Don't believe so. I think Zeems was basically making that move right as the caution came out. So I think if it stays green, he's got the racecraft to do it. He's certainly been able to avoid trouble getting up to up 12 positions during the race as well. So I think Zeems is still my pick in the 90 car.
And the lights are back on the pace car. We will not be going back to racing this time by. We'll have one more lap under pacing before we go back to green. Looks like race control delayed the start. Not exactly sure why, but field is double file, and they will be double file for one more lap as we will be racking them up for the second overtime green-white checkered attempt. We have 3 available to us, so if they do not finish the race under this attempt, we'll have one more waiting in the wings. But we have had about a total of 3 laps under green, and everybody just wanted to stop wrecking and get this race finished, as it'll be 1 to go this time by.
One driver out there, Max Steck, a bit of a shout out. I'm not sure if that's his personal livery or someone else's that he has applied, but it looks like he's got a lucky charm on the back of that car. It's someone's dash hound across the tail of that car.
That is a very fine paint job there in the 631.
Yeah, good to see a bit of colour and personality out there on the grid tonight.
All right, well, here we go. We've seen this multiple times tonight, and this is the time we'll be seeing it again. The second green-white checkered attempt. Once again, double file for the restart. That iRacing pace car has spent more time on the track than some of these cars on the grid. But it'll go down into pit road, hopefully for the last time tonight, as the 64 of Trevor Catalano gets going. We're green flag for the second green-white checkered attempt, as the 64 will clear the 90 by a couple car lengths. Everybody diving into turn number 1, and hopefully they're diving into turn number 1 next time by on the white flag lap.
Yeah, everyone was bunched down quite tight on the inside of that restart, so surprised we got through turn 1 without a caution flying there, but see, everyone seems to be behaving for now. And again, so Zeems looking down to the inside, trying to get this run on Catalano. And they come around, and this is actually going to be the checker.
Well, here we go. White flag lap one more time around the Phoenix Raceway. The 64 leading the field down the back straightaway.
Yeah, I believe that was actually the checker.
Was it the checker?
So,
well, the iRacing system completely messing up there.
Yeah, the timing screen was showing checker, but the flag system was showing white. So sorry for the confusion there, but it looks like Trevor Catalano was able to hold off Zeems there for the win. So congratulations to Trevor.
Well, the 64 of Trevor Catalano was able to take the checkered flag, and a nice shot from the one car there on the 64 as he takes the win tonight here in the Legends cars, and he was able to beat out the cautions and led when it mattered, and that was the checkered flag lap as the 64 will go to victory lane here at the Phoenix Raceway with an amazing finish to this race. The 64 of Trevor Catalano grabs that checkered flag, and he wins to race number 2 of the New York Thunder eSeries here on Apex Racing TV. The results are now up on your screen as Trevor Catalano grabs the checkered flag in the 64 car. Ken Zeems in second, Kenny Zeems in third, William Kruska in fourth, Max Deck fifth, Eric Conklin sixth, Matthew Lambert seventh, Vincent Cristiano eighth, Chad Golisi in ninth, Zach Scott-Nicky rounds out the top 10, 11th, Nick Kalusha, 12th, Mark Sergio, 13th, Cullen Johnston, 14th, Michael Schuler, 15th, Jason Hand, 16th, Christopher Opgar, 17th, Michael Sismadia, 18th, Stephen Barber, 19th, Dustin Sorber, and then the cars that finished off of the lead lap, Christopher Kimlingen, Mason Hanel, and Patrick Huger rounds out your 22 car grid. And we have some drivers waiting in the interview area. Brad, if you want to go ahead and bring the first one in here. Looks like we have one sitting in the waiting area. Not exactly sure which driver that is. We'll try and get some clarification here in just a moment.
So yeah, we've got a username of Punch and Pie. We're not really sure who that is, but welcome to the Apex commentary booth. If you can let us know who you are, that'd be great.
This is Dustin Sorber.
Yeah, hi Dustin. Bit of a frustrating race out there this evening. There's lots and lots of cautions, very little green flag running. How did you find it from your perspective?
Yeah, it was pretty rough. Once I got in that first accident, I just had nowhere to go, and I just had to kind of try to work my way back through. Getting some of the wave rounds helped a lot. The restart before the last, I got black flagged for passing the 99, but the 99 laid back, so it showed me as 19th. I should be 16th, but that's okay.
Well, Dustin, an awesome race from you tonight. We're going to go ahead and transition over to our race winner for tonight, Trevor Catalano. Trevor, you led when it mattered, and that was the checkered flag lap. Talk about the race from your perspective. Of course, a lot of cautions, but you were able to grab that lead and keep it for the later half of that race.
Yeah, yeah, Ken. I thought he was gonna get me there at the end. He was definitely getting me a shot under, but it was good racing by him, and I wish we could have got a couple more green flag laps.
And you were able to lead when it mattered. How important was those restarts? Because we saw you overpower that 23 on the outside line. Was it important to you to get a good restart and able to pass him so you can just lead the race and stop worrying about trying to grab that lead?
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I got that lead because I want to make sure if there's any more caution laps that get a chance to at least try to get the win. So just figured I would get it to take my best chance right there and try to get it.
Well, congratulations on the win, the 64 of Trevor Catalano grabbing the win here tonight. And we have race control, William Kruska driving the number 6 tonight, finishing in the 4th spot. William, we'll start from your race perspective. How was the race for you in that number 6 car?
I have no idea because every time we raced, it went to yellow.
But okay, now going over to the race control perspective, you had to control this race from an officiating perspective, and of course, with all of the cautions, how did you manage to do it tonight?
Honestly, I don't know. It's totally different when you're sitting out when it's just you doing everything, but it's I don't know. It just was got hard at times, but a different thing to do when you're not sitting out and racing.
Brad, you got anything for William Kruska in the number 6?
I guess just looking forward to the rounds 3 and 4. I think we've got the late model and the modified. Which car do you think you got the strongest chance of getting up on the podium?
At the moment, probably super late model. It seemed fine the setup wise, but I don't know how the tour mod setup is. So, but I think I'll do fine either way. depending on what happens in the race and such.
No worries. Well, thanks for joining us up here, William, and thanks for having us along on this series. And we wish you luck in the final 2 rounds.
Thank you.
That was William Kruska in the number 6. Looks like we have 2 more interviews lined up. Up next, it is Sean Conklin. Sean, you were able to, Eric Conklin. Eric, you were able to get finished in the 6th spot tonight. How was your race from your perspective? Of course, a lot of cautions out there on the track.
I didn't really mind the cautions. All the cautions were definitely a breather to take a break from the race. I didn't like the wreck that I had. Went from 16th all the way up to 6th and then fell back down when I wrecked. Restarted 20th and was able to make my way up to 6th and stay there for the end of the race. I think it was definitely an interesting race. I don't think it was the driver's fault for all the cautions. I think everyone was excited and everyone got freaked out, but yeah, it was a good race overall and I'm happy with my finish.
Brad, you got anything for Eric Conklin?
Yeah, we saw that looked like there might have been a little bit of blinking or connection issues with that incident you were involved with. Could you see the other cars around you when that happened? Or?
Yeah, I could see every other car around me. I have been having some internet issues lately, so that could be the case.
Well, no worries. Well, it's definitely a good recovery there with a very short green run to make all those positions back up. So congratulations on position 6 this evening, and wish you luck for the remaining 2 rounds.
Thank you.
It looks like we have 1 more interview lined up. Who are we speaking with here in the Apex Racing TV commentary booth? Oh, we're getting radio silence from them, so it looks like our interviews are completed. Trevor Catalano grabbing the win tonight in the 64. And that is going to conclude coverage of tonight's race here from the Phoenix Raceway, the New York Thunder eSeries. Night number 2. Brad, we didn't see a lot of green flag racing, but the green flag racing we saw was definitely very exciting. How was the race for you, of course, up here in the booth? And what are you looking forward to these last 2 nights of the New York Thunder eSeries?
Yeah, there's definitely potential for some spectacular racing out there. Unfortunately, we didn't see enough of, well, as much as we would have liked, but you guys still put on a good show, and the short green runs that we had. I think out of the remaining 2 rounds, I'm probably looking forward to the Tour Modified. Big fan of those cars. I like the look of them, the sound. They're super aggressive with a huge open wheels at the front there, so and the carburetor sticking out in front of the driver, so I think they look fantastic, and I think they'll provide some good racing around this track.
It was definitely a caution-filled night, but an exciting one nonetheless for night number 2, the New York Thunder eSeries. You can catch night number 3 and 4 right here on the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel. For Dennis Branch, Brad Clank, I am Joshua Lee, and we thank you for tuning in to tonight's race here on Apex Racing TV. We are saying goodbye from the Phoenix Raceway.